Hey guys, welcome back to another video here today. Another Devlog, I guess. Well, it's a brand new Devlog, right? I hope you guys are doing great, doing wonderful on this day. I I know it's been a while for me, but I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving and spend it with your families for those that celebrate it. And yeah, hope you guys are doing great. And yeah, let's continue with this new Devlog. I'm gonna be doing next. Um, just to give a little bit more context as to what my next devlog game is gonna be. If you see my other devlogs, I mentioned I've been applying to other places to find a job, right? A few months ago, I applied to this place that is a shooter game type of company, right? I'm not gonna mention which one. I'm just gonna say that. And I was pretty deep into the interview, and I got through the first couple interviews, and I reached to the panel interview where you interview with 6 different people. So I had like 6 interviews, which is kind of crazy. The panel interview is kind of crazy, guys. But so I reached to that point, and after that I got a rejection saying that I didn't meet their expectations and all that kind of stuff, or qualifications or whatever for what they were looking for. And so yeah, I received that, and I was kind of disappointed because I know that I'm capable of doing the work that they were requiring or wanting. I know that I'm capable of doing it. So this comes to this next step log, and see if I can create my own shooter type of game here. Let's see if I'm capable of creating something like that, right? Because I know that I am. So yeah, that's gonna be my next game, guys. I'm gonna name it an unnamed FPS shooter. I have no name for it just yet, but that's gonna be what I'm gonna be saying from now on. An unnamed FPS shooter devlog, and this is gonna be my first one. So yeah, so that's the context, and I know most likely you probably already knew by reading the title of this video, so you kind of already knew that was happening. But I just wanted to give it a context as to why I'm creating this today. So yeah, so let's get started. I'll be using Unreal Engine once again, just because I want to get my skills a little bit better when it comes to Unreal and getting more experience on it. So yeah, let's get started. So what I would like to do here is I would like to import the third person character. So that means I need to import the third person content template, and we want to make sure it's going to be on C++, incorporating that, and also incorporating the starter content. So not you, right? I'm saying this like this is a tutorial, but it's not. After I've added these into the project, I will also like to add some packages from the marketplace, and because I need animations, right? So I would like to import, if you look at the marketplace, there's an actual already an animation starter pack that you can use. I'd like to add this starter pack into the project, and also be able to add some weapons. So I definitely need some weapons that I would like to add. So I would like to definitely add the FPS weapon bundle, because I include some various ARs and SMGs and other things that are in there as well. And also I'd like to add the military weapons silver here, because this includes the pistol, and I also need a pistol. Somehow this FPS weapon bundle does not have a pistol. I don't know why, but I'd like to add both of these. And after I've added those, then yeah, let's get started into the project, right? So one thing I would like to bring up here is let's look at the animations for, let's see, the animation starter pack. So if we look into this, a weapon forward animation, weapon forward, right? Which is great. It's basically, you have the basics of this animation when it comes to actually having, holding a weapon. You have even idle here. The problem with this, at least for me, is because the plan for this project is that I would like to create some procedural animations here, for like recoil, weapon swaying, all that kind of shenanigans, right? But because of this animations that it has the arms moving, that it kind of messes it up. So I like to have this to be static. Like, let's go back to the other animation here, like the forward. Like, I like to keep the legs, right, to move, but then keep everything above the pelvis static, because all of that stuff is going to be happening in the procedural animation. So one good way to make this to make that work is that I need to go to Blender, right? But before I go into that, I can easily make that work when it comes to like idle pistol, right? Even idle pistol, it has the arms moving, and you kind of don't really want that. So we can easily, what you can do here is, you know, stop the autoplay here, set it to 0, and you can delete all the frames. But before you do that, you want to duplicate the actual animation before you do that, you know? So you can delete the frames and you call it static or whatever, and then you have your static animation when it comes to idle. And the same thing can be done with the rifle, right? Because the rifle is also moving. And so what you can do is set it to 0 and delete all the frames except this 0. And then you have here, now you have your idle animation working. So what we would like to do is, or what I like to do, is to export it as an animation data, save it up, and then we'll want to open Blender, delete all of the stuff that's in here. We can import that mesh. So you have this, right? Wait, hold on. Let me set that up to 22. You have this animation here, right? Yeah, as you can see the upper body movement work here. And what I like to do here is to, if I can grab that, yeah, is to basically go through all the bones that are from the pelvis and up to the body on top from the head, and it's to delete the animation frames and keyframes. And then after that, you have those deleted. After I have those deleted, you'll add it back to the project, and you'll have something like this. So as you can see, like, hey, not the upper body movement. It looks a little bit weird, but promise me once I have the procedural animations here, it will definitely look a lot better. After I've, you know, checked those out, everything's working, going back to Blender a couple times to make sure that I missed a couple bones and all that. I can then create a blend space with this to go from left and right for the rifle, and then you have to run the sprinting one, which when it comes to sprinting, it doesn't really matter if it's moving. I'm not gonna care because you're not gonna be shooting while sprinting at the same time, right? And the same thing will be for pistol. Pretty simple, right? So cool. We can then create the animation blueprint, which, you know, you have the locomotion here, you have the idle, and it's pretty simple, right? You just do the idle and the walk and run here. Pretty cool. And the same thing for the vertical states where, you know, you jump, falling, all that kind of stuff. But the other question is creating the weapon states, right? How are you going to determine which animation you're going to play, if it's going to be the pistol or if it's going to be the rifle, right? So I created some enums here, right? I created like a basic item type kind of enum here that's going to determine if this item is going to be a weapon, or this item is going to be ammo, or this is going to be a weapon attachment. And basically this is going to be added more in here in the future. So right now this is what I have for what we have at the moment. We want to focus on the weapons and their ammos and all that, and attachments if they're going to have attachments and all that. And then if this is going to be a weapon, then you can then go into this enum here and determine what kind of weapon it is. If it's going to be an assault rifle, battle rifle, sniper, SMG, launcher, melee, all that kind of shenanigans, right? And it will also have an enum for their firing type, which is going to be a single, burst, semi, or if it's going to be automatic. And basically then this one, so this is the enum that I can be using to determine what animations can be playing when it comes to the weapon states, right? I will be working on making an IK for the left hand to be able to move the left hand to the correct position, determining what kind of weapon I'm gonna be using. So for like an assault rifle, you can move that left hand to be in the barrel section, right? Or if it's a pistol, the left hand is also going to be in the grip position. So both hands are in the grip position when you're holding up a pistol. Or maybe certain SMGs are also going to be doing that. So this is what is going to be here. What left hand position type it's going to be. If it's the left hand is going to be in the barrel, or if it's going to be in the grip of the weapon. And this is the enum that I'll be using to determine the weapon states here. So if I go in here and go to idle, you got a rifle, and then you have pistol, and then you have a blend pose using this enum. By default, I'm gonna be using AR, but if the animations is gonna be in a grip type for the left hand, then it uses the grip weapon. So ideally, I'll probably need to rename these, because there probably can be SMGs or other weapons besides pistols or handguns. The left hand also needs to be on the grip, right? So probably we need to rename these a little bit. But so right now this is working, so we can have that for the idle, and we can have this for the walking run animation as well, to determine which ones I would be playing. But cool. So once I incorporated this, we can run it real quick, and we can make sure that it actually works. We'll use the map that we'll have. I believe this is the first person template map, right? I don't remember if I mentioned to include the first person, but if it didn't, then there we go. Let's move the camera a little bit back so that we can see our character. There we go. So now we have this, right? So we have the walking, idle, we got the run, and we got the jump. And the weapon stays, I can't show you guys that because we have no weapons yet. So let's get into that right now. So the next thing that I would like to incorporate here, or start implementing, is creating the interactables here. So I would like for it, there's different ways to make this work. You know, sometimes you can, depending on the type of game you're working on, you can have like an actual sphere overlap over the player, and this falls within the sphere. Then we can, you know, show it like an interaction kind of thing. Or the direction that I want to go with is creating a line trace from the player's camera, and maybe 200 units in front as well, forward. And if I'm looking at a certain interactable, then I'm create some type of interaction, right? So let's create we'll create a class for their interactable, and then create a blueprint. So once we created the blueprints, we'll have this the blueprint will be of type actor, or actually my interactable class that I created. I keep saying I'll add the the mesh here, the static mesh, that's going to be showing what kind of the mesh this interactable is going to be. I will also like for this interactable, so if I'm looking at an interactable, it's also going to highlight this is what this mesh is going to be, is to be able to highlight this weapon. And then we'll create a widget. This widget is going to display the button that you can need to use to interact with this interactable. When I create the interactable widget, right now I'm just displaying E, because E right now is going to be the button that is going to be interactable. But if I in the future ever wanted this to be player mappable, the player is going to be possibly changing it to a different button. So I may need to create some functionality to determine what button that's going to be and show it here. But as of right now, I'm just showing E for right now. So this is what this widget is going to be as of right now. In the future, I'll probably also add another widget here to display like the info of that type of that weapon or the specific item that I would be looking at. But as of right now, I'm going a little bit too ahead. So so I created this here, and that's what this widget is going to be, the interaction that I just created. But another thing that I would like this pickup to also do, and probably I went a little bit too overboard when it came to this, but it's good to have right now, right? It wouldn't be too crazy to have right now, is to have different types of interactions here, right? We can have the immediate interaction here, when you look at the item and you press the button and you automatically interact with it. The other type of interactive I like to do is to have like a timer that you need to hold the interactive button. So you need to hold it for maybe like 5 seconds or whatever. And if you hold it for 5 seconds, you actually interact with it. And the other version of it is to have some type of overlap collision, right? So the player needs to be within this overlap in order to interact with this item. So like for a chest, right, you can't open it from the back, you need to be in the front side of it. So this is what this overlap's going to do. And if the player is within this overlap collision, you can then interact with this item. And it's probably a little bit too much for right now, but it's good to have. Why not have that now? After this, I would like to create another. So this is like the base pickup for all the pickups that are going to be happening in this here, right? But I will also like to create another pickup of a base pickup that's going to be for weapons only, because maybe weapons only needs to have certain functionality that others don't, and I don't want to put that in the pickup. So I'll be creating the weapon base pickup as a blueprint that's going to be parented to this pickup here. So once I have that open, and the reason why here is the interactive, right? You have an I'll have an interaction here that when you click interaction button, it will call this function here to then be able to equip it to the player. So we'll need to create that functionality for the player where we want to equip the weapon. So after creating that weapon pickup in the character class, we can be able to have the weapon equipped to the player. But before we can do that, we'll need to create some type of we need to tell it where exactly this weapon is going to go, right? Because we don't have that. Let's see. So we go to Granny, we can go to the skeleton. So we have this skeleton here, and ideally the weapon usually goes to the left hand, right? The initial. So we'll create a socket for the weapon that's gonna go here. Cool. So what we can do is to add a preview asset here, and we can create a mesh here. You know, so when the socket hits in here, it looks like it's looking pretty alright. And if I need to move a little bit, I can move it in here with the socket a little bit and making sure it's actually placed in the right place. The left hand, like I mentioned before, is going to be done in an IK, so it doesn't really matter where exactly this is going to be at. So that's okay. We'll just leave it there. But cool, that's looking pretty good. We'll save it, close it. Cool. So now we have something that we have the player to be able to look at the weapon and be able to interact with it after creating the inputs for it, the input asset actions and all that. So right now it's gonna be for the letter E, and that's where we're at today. We'll need to create the line trace for this, as I mentioned before, for the character. Yeah, so we'll create this line trace for the character that's going to be doing this, and be able to keep a reference of the actor that I'll be looking at, that I'll be using. So right now I cache it into this focus actor that, so that when I actually press E to interact with it, I can use this actor to then call, where's that? To call this interact function here. So cool. Let's show this trace real quick. There we go. We have a trace going on here, which is going like crazy right now. And the reason that's doing that is because the actual trace is happening in the center of the screen, so it doesn't know where to render it. So that's why it's going on sporadically, but it is working as it's intended. So let's say I'll look at this wall, and you can actually see there's a red square there that is actually showing that it is colliding with something. But since this is not an interactable item, it's not going to show those interaction menu items and showing like press E to interact with and all that kind of stuff, right? So let's create that. So we'll create a child blueprint of the base pickup. We create a child of this blueprint, and we'll add the M4 that we added from the FPS bundle. So we have this weapon bundle here that we're going to be using. We got this widget that's going to be showing on top of the weapon, and yeah, and we make sure the highlights actually set up correctly so they highlights correctly for this weapon. And once this weapon is added into the game, or into the level I should say, we drag the weapon or M4 into the level. We can just drag it in here, move a little bit higher, and let's run it. And then you can say, hey, well, cool. No interactions happening, but if I look at the weapon, boom, it highlights it white. We can show it like, hey, there's E happening here, and then we can equip that. Cool. So we have something that we have something working here where we can look at it in interactable and be able to pick it up if it's the weapon and equip it to my hands into the socket. And yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Another thing, like I mentioned before, I mentioned that maybe I wanted this to be the other different type of interactable. I'm gonna show you, like, hey, maybe I want 5 seconds to show to be done to be able to interact with this item. So if I put 5 seconds on it, I can see this, and then you can see like a UI feedback showing like, hey, this needs to be interacted for 5 seconds, and after that, you're able to collect it, so which is sweet. So as of right now, it doesn't fire, it doesn't do anything, and that's what the next devlog is going to be about. Hold on, let me make sure that I did everything else I needed to do. Sweet. Cool. So that's going to be my next devlog, where we want the weapon to fire, to reload, do swapping of weapons. Let's say I pick up another assault rifle, to be able to drop this the rifle that I'm holding back into the world and be able to pick up the new pickup weapon that I did. Be able to holster weapons. Ideally, what I want here is to have 2 different types, right? Like an additional shooter game, you'll have a primary weapon and a secondary weapon, right? And be able to switch between them and holster the other weapon and be able to equip the other weapon, right? And then show UI with this to show how many bullets it has and all that shenanigans. But that'll be for the next vlog. I hope you guys enjoy this. And so far it's looking pretty good. I definitely also need to do the procedural animations and all that to make this look a little bit better, right? But I wish I had more time. It's already like it's already like more than I wanted to. I wanted this to be like 10 minutes, but it's definitely not 10 minutes at all. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I went a little bit too high level for this. I didn't want to go too deep into the functionality of everything, but if you guys do want me to do that, I could create another video to go more in depth into what I did to make this work. But yeah, if this video ever if it gets 500 likes, I definitely gonna be doing that in the future, because that tells me that you guys are interested in it, and I can do that. I could go more in depth into future videos as well. But if this video gets 500 likes, I definitely, I'm willing to create another video to go more in depth into this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this new devlog and this new series that I'll be creating. If you guys have not watched the previous devlog of the other game, I created I reimagined Plants vs Zombies in 3D using Unreal Engine. And if you guys have not seen that, that'll be I'll link it up in the video and in the top, in the card, or in the description if you guys are interested in watching. It was pretty fun working on that game, and maybe in the future I'll come back and add more stuff to it. But I needed to jump on to something new, which is what this devlog was gonna be. Now is, I should say. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful night, depending on your time. And if you guys enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, or and subscribe if you guys are interested. It definitely helps me out. It makes me see that you guys are interested in watching these type of videos. So, but yeah, have a wonderful day, guys. Happy holidays, and I'll see you guys next time. Signing out.